Hello guys, welcome to Primrose and Pearl Bath Products. My name is Melinda and I am the owner slash creator slash, I don't know, whatever fancy title you want to give me. Today I am making a winter inspired soap. I got the idea after I had ordered some fragrances from Midwest Fragrance Company. If you've watched my channel before, you know how much I love Midwest Fragrance Company. I just think that they have some amazing fragrances that always work well in soap. So I had ordered a bunch of random new fragrances for my winter slash Christmas line, and I found the roasted pine cone fragrance and I loved it so much. So this soap is entirely inspired just on that fragrance. For the design, I wanted to go with an evergreen tree look because of the pine cone, so I did a play on that. First, what I'm doing is I am mixing up some green soap batter. I already blended together my oil and my lye water solution, and then I went ahead and added a little bit of Savage Garden and a little bit of chromium green oxide just to give it more of a evergreen feel versus more of that, a little bit of a blue-green feel. So now I am hand blending in my colorant. I've never worked with the roasted pine cone fragrance oil before, so I didn't know exactly how it would perform. I did read the fragrance notes and it said it did discolor, but it didn't really accelerate. But I always just like to make sure, with my own recipe, be careful and see before I kind of go full in. So I added all of the fragrance oil into this green portion. What I'm doing is a tree silhouette, but it's kind of an inverse. So the main part of the soap will be this green color, this evergreen color. And then I'm going to have a white portion that looks like an evergreen tree. So all of my fragrance oil went into the green part, like I said, because I knew that there was a little bit of discoloration to it. Now I'm going back in with my stick blender. I know that the oil behaved well, but I actually do want a thick batter for this particular soap because what I did was I designed and made a soap scraper using my 3D printer. And so I want my batter to be really thick so that I can actually scrape out what's going to be the tree portion. So now that I have it relatively thick, I'm pouring it into my 2 soap molds. All of the batter will go in. I'm not coming back to this green color. Now, before I started the soap, I sketched it out and I tried to do some fancy math to figure out exactly how much of each color I would need. And I'm going to tell you, it didn't exactly turn out. The soap turned out much smaller than I thought. Now, this is a soap scraper that I made using my 3D printer. And I'm going to go along one side of each of these loaves and actually scrape out that tree portion and then fill it back in with the white. Okay, so my math. I am not mathematically inclined. I cannot claim to have that as one of my talents, but I tried. So what I did was I sketched out the size of the soap I thought I would end up with. I tried to do some fancy Pythagorean theorem, figure out the triangle and how much soap would get taken away. Anyway, long story short, these soap bars ended up a lot smaller than my usual soap bar, but I'm actually okay with it. I kind of like the smaller soap size, and I'll be curious to see what you all think and the people that use the soap think, because I do think with holiday soaps sometimes you love having that holiday scent, but then once the season's over, you're kind of over it, like you're done. And so sometimes with a regular size bar of soap, you have it left over and then you're still using, a holly jolly Christmas in February and you're like, "Oh my God, I'm done." Or maybe not. Maybe you're one of those people that loves Christmas year round. No judgment here, but I don't know. Like I said, I'll be curious to see what people think. So I am continuing to scrape. Now this first one was tricky for me because this is my first time doing kind of an inverted scraping thing in here. I was trying to go slowly and just like take out the extra as I was scraping, and it was a pretty long process. But by the second loaf, I think I had a much better technique down. But this is real soap making. Like, this is my real struggle of, trying to figure out how do I make this work without completely ruining the entire loaf of soap. So I'm going back in one more time, scraping, trying to make sure I get good details of that evergreen tree. And all that extra that I'm scraping out is not going to waste. I don't know if you can see kind of the little corner of it off to the side, but I'm actually scraping it into a much smaller soap mold that I decided I could use for sample soaps, which works out really well too, taking all that extra, especially since my math was so far off on everything. So next I'm going to my white layer of soap. I am mixing in a small amount. I had way more soap batter than what I really needed for the size that this ended up being, but like I said, nothing went to waste because I went ahead and made some of those sample size bars. So I've got my white mixed up and I am pouring it into the cavity first where I had scraped out where that tree is. I wanted to make sure that I really got all of the points filled up, so that's why I had tipped it on to the side, and I'm using this funnel pour so that it can really get into all those little crevices. And I'm going to do the same thing with my second loaf of soap. In my initial plan, I was only going to make the tree part the white and have it just be that, but I had so much soap batter left over that after staring at it for a little bit, I decided to just go ahead and add in a little bit extra and have it be like the snowy ground portion, and I think it still turned out super cute. Now, what you are looking at is technically the bottom of the soap that is now the top of the soap. The way that I poured it upside down so that I could use that scraper and still have that motif. Oh yes, I have to wipe off my cutter. I always like to wipe off my cutter. I think it helps with the soap drag lines when you're cutting multiple bars. And here is the reveal. So you can see the little evergreen silhouettes, the little snowy part at the bottom. I do think it added a nice touch to the overall aesthetic of the soap. And then the rest of that lovely green color, that evergreen. I would love to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Also, I'm really curious to see if people like the Christmas soaps year round, if you like to have a little bit of that spirit all the time, or if you are strictly a holiday season type of person. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Until next time.